Hi, and welcome to the studio. Chef Gordon Rader, beautiful Indian Hills Community College studio at the Culinary Arts Department. Today I want to talk about pork. We've been working on a couple of recipes for Peru and a couple for Spain. We've got competitions coming up every year, and so we try to look at some of the ingredients that we have that are similar in these countries. And pork's always a popular protein. And Iowa pork, again, is always really, really good. And so I brought today a pork tenderloin, which is one of my favorite pieces of meat next to anything from the shoulder, or Boston butt, they'll call it, which has a lot of collagen. And that particular piece of meat we've talked about before, I know, takes a lot of braising to cook down the gelatinous quality of the fat that's in there, and you get this really great flavor profile and mouthfeel. But this, to me, is better than beef. I just love this particular piece of pork. Again, it's a tenderloin. Runs anywhere $3 to $4 a pound, which is not bad for that particular cut of meat. It's very tender, not a lot of fat, so it's healthy. And one of the things that I want to talk about is the versatility of it too. Dry rubs, for me, are one of my favorite ways to approach this particular piece of meat. Now, there's one of my favorites is a chili and cocoa rub, and we do baker's cocoa, unsweetened, obviously. Chili of your choice, in other words, a chili powder, and it can be a habanero chili powder, it can be a regular chili powder, dark chili powder, black pepper, salt, cumin, and that really gives a really earthy taste to the pork, fits right in with that flavor profile that it has. And there's a lot of other things you can do too. For example, what we've done with this one is a jerk seasoning. And if you think about the Caribbean, not my mother-in-law the jerk, the Caribbean jerk, white pepper, nutmeg, black pepper, Scotch bonnet pepper, which you can get dried, a little bit of cumin, garlic, and mix that all together. And again, that little bit of nutmeg, maybe a little bit of allspice as well, is going to give it that distinct flavor that talks about the Caribbean. And I did this because I saw this rice from Zatarain's, and I love Zatarain's out in New Orleans. But this is a Caribbean rice mix that they have, and you can pick it up at Walmart or Hy-Vee. Quick and easy to make. 2.5 cups of water, a little bit of butter, the package and the mix. It's got pineapple in it. Okay, it's got a nice chicken base, so you've got that nice color, a little bit of turmeric too. So you've got some acidity to go with some of the spice. And we've talked before again about the blends of flavors and the harmonies and the balances. So if you've got something fatty, if you've got something spicy, you want to have something acidic, you want to have something sweet. And so these combinations of flavors are really good. So basically, we've just taken those dry mix, and we'll have a recipe for you at some point. And again, the heavier spices you can go to your liking. If you like black pepper, you can use a lot. If you don't, cut back. Paprika, for me, is a good base to carry the other ingredients, the allspice, the nutmeg, a little bit of black pepper, a little bit of white pepper, salt, okay? And this can go onto the pork. You can leave it an hour. You can leave it overnight. An hour is fine. I think if you go overnight, it's just too powerful. And there's two things you can do at this point, and this is quick and easy. You can go into a saute pan with a little bit of olive oil or straight canola oil and saute that, finish it in the oven, or you can put it on the grill. I'm going to go ahead and put ours on the grill, and we're going to move it around a little bit, and then we're going to talk about rice. And again, this is a quick cooking meat. We don't want it to dry out. The new rules for pork have gone from the 165 internal temperature to 145, which is a good news for pork. It's good news for chefs. I'll put this on, and that's a preheated grill as well. And you can do that outside, or if you're lucky enough to have a hood vent in your house, you know, you can do it there. But 165 for pork, I always thought was just too much. People were worried about trichinosis, which has been bred out of the pork. Pork is very healthy. It's very lean. It's a great protein. 145 is pink. And so as opposed to having this dried out piece of protein, you've got this nice, slightly pink, very juicy protein. Let's talk about the rice. I'm going to show you how to make something. This is fun. Parchment paper. If you don't have lids to your pots and pans, maybe you've got a piece of parchment paper in your house. You use it for baking. I'm going to make a lid for this. I've got 2.5 cups of water, a couple tablespoons of butter, just per the package ingredients, because we got to get this working. You know, this is really tough, folks. You've got to open the bag up. I don't know if I have the strength to do it myself, so I'm going to use a knife, you know. Okay, here we go. Into the water. All the ingredients are right there. Let me get this out of the way. Got to work neat and clean. So you got your square parchment paper. It's in your house. You're going to make cookies next week. So I'm just taking it, I'm going to fold it in half and keep the folded section nearest to you. Then I'm going to fold it again. Okay? So you're starting to get a little triangle. I'm going to fold it again. Parchment paper doesn't have wax on it, so that's much better for you. Basically what I'm going to do is go down about halfway into my pan, tear it off. I got a nice little lid, right? So you can use that to poach with, to your rice. Great stuff. Onto the stove. Medium heat till it comes up to the boil, and then I'm going to turn it down and let it cook. 15 minutes maybe. So the pork, let's check and see. I like to, you can get a thermometer if you feel like that's important, to get it that 145, 150. If you're really squeamish, I like it pink. The main thing is touch it in the fattest part of the protein, right? If it springs back, this is a little bit overdone, because I talk too much, right? So 15 minutes at the very least to let it rest, because it's tired, it's been cooking, it's really exhausted. The whole idea behind that, though, is to let those juices run back into the meat. Anytime you talk to a chef, they're going to tell you the same thing. Don't go into it right away or all the juice is going to run out of it. So I want to show you what I'm going to try to do with this while we're going to let it rest. You can get a little blanket for it. We have some made specifically for these size portions of meat. Give it a little time on it. I know, that was a bad joke. Presentation, this is one thing I want to talk about too. There's so many ways to do this. You can cut individual slices out of it. You can cut a nice fillet portion out of it, or in other words, like a mignon, okay? You can do the whole thing, carve it table side, whatever. But I want to think about some of the things you might combine it with. The rice, for example, is something that's nice. The Caribbean rice with this is going to have a nice contrast with it. You could do potato, you could do white rice, you could do mashed potatoes. I've got a fried potato, I'll show you what I do. And this could be a big waste of potato for you, but I like to do this. I'll trim off the ends and use it for mashed. And then I'll bake this at 350 for about 15, 20 minutes. A little salt, pepper, thyme, in this case just salt, and then finish it in the fryer to get that nice color. So this is a great way. You think about it, you can put this on a plate. Let me get another plate. I'm right over here, I got plates. You can get another plate. You maybe do a square plate. I don't know. And you can think about that, and you can come across with thin slices. And that's what we'll do. We'll play a little bit with this and see what we come up with. So, let me check my rice, because for some reason it's taken like forever. It may be that parchment paper I used on it. Oh, it's looking pretty good. It's looking very nice. Herbs, fresh herbs. I keep a couple of small pots of fresh thyme, basil in my windowsill. In the summertime, obviously, the garden. This is some oregano. I've got some fresh thyme. And you can use anything you want to, but the fresher the better. The smell, for one thing, the color, it makes a huge difference. And again, that's what we do. We cook. It's not just, throw it on the plate, set it down, have a nice dinner, right? We're trying to transcend the ordinary, make things fun. I watched kids in recently. We had an Iron Chef competition. These high school kids do amazing plate presentation. These are 14, 15, 16-year-old kids, that are doing great work. So let's take a look at this. I'm going to do a couple of things. I'm going to go ahead and cut from the center a really nice section. Now can you see how beautiful that is? That is perfect. You see the juice coming out of that? Just slightly pink. It's firm, it's not raw, it's perfect. That's perfect. And I'm going to go ahead and cut a couple more pieces here for a different presentation. Oh my God, here, look at that. See? So you see, if I would have waited the full 15, we wouldn't have as much juice loss. You want that to go to the plate. This is something you need to serve right away. It goes right to the plate. But let's look at what we do. And I'm going to use my paws. Let's go ahead and just look. That potato piece, 2, 3, 4. So we always talk about center of the plate and height as far as garnish goes, making sure everything looks good, trying to keep it away from the rim. It just looks better. Now, let's get our rice. I think it's done. We got rice. We got our happy little parchment paper that you can just leave on there. I've got a spoon. We're going to take a little bit of this rice and we're going to put it right here in the middle. Maybe actually we'll pull it back some too, because I'm thinking about the way the plate's shaped. Okay? Then we're going to take this beautiful piece of pork and set it right there. And I'm just going to move this off to the side so we can just really concentrate on the plates themselves. And then another thing I like to do with fresh herbs and olive oil, we've talked about olive oil, that we had some fresh chives out of the garden, and basically we took the chives and some olive oil, put it in our blender, as opposed to the ones we make the margaritas in after 5. And we just ground this up, and then we strained it. And so this makes for a really neat little color contrast. Okay? And you can do it however you want to. You know, play around, be happy, make something fun. And then maybe we'll come over here with a little bit of this green rosemary, oregano, pardon me. And maybe we'll come on top with a little bit of fresh thyme. But I mean, come on, that's so simple. It's so beautiful. It's so easy to do. And it's taken your dish to the next level with local ingredients, fresh products, and your family's going to love it too. And I don't know, again, the students come here, this is what they want to do, this is what they want to see, this is what they want to create. I think it's a formidable program. I think we have incredible talent, not only in our staff, but in our student population that does such great work. So hopefully you enjoyed this. Hopefully you'll do it again, and you'll contact me and let me know whether we're doing a good job or not, whether you're enjoying these videos, and whether we should just keep moving on with them. Any questions, we'd love to hear from you. So until next time, thank you.